I'm Kendall. The goal, I guess, that we're going to talk about today is taking a deck that you would probably be likely to drop and then trying to top with it. So it's called Dropper to Topper. I really like Marincess. For me, it's a really fun deck. It's the deck I think I really started learning Yu-Gi-Oh with, but it's not always great for every format, and so the goal hopefully is to be able to top regionals with it soon, or this year. So the first, I guess, event that we'll really be able to test it out to see how well, how far we have to go is the OTS championship that we're going to in 2 weeks. So let's get into Marincess deck profile and see what we can do with it from here. So we'll start with our Marincess monsters. We have 3 Blue Tang, best starter in the deck. We have 3 Spring Girl, and this card just really helps you play, get you access to other Marincess names, even if you're under draw. Pasculus, Seahorse, 2 Mandarin, and 1 Basilima. Basilima, this format, is just to help protect your board, or at least something on your board from being destroyed. That's really its goal. All of these are 1-card starters. I would just say that the best ones to start with is either Blue Tang or even Spring Girl or Seahorse, just because they can special themselves out, and you don't really have to rely on getting another name. So we'll remove them. Next we'll go into the rest of our Marincess names, our Field Spell, our Dive, and our Wave. I play Battle Ocean at 1. All of these are searchable. These are searchable off of Sea Angel, and this is searchable off Triangle. I think Battle Ocean is good at 1. It's not something that you really need to win games, but it's a nice to have, and you'll see why I talk about that later. Dive, it's good for recursion, but you have to have a Marincess name in order for this to pop off, or you have to have Battle Ocean for this to be active. And then I play Wave. This is literally the best Marincess card that we have access to. It's an imperm and makes our things unaffected. Everything that's on the field whenever it's activated, as long as it successfully resolves. The great thing about Marincess is that it's actually pretty small in comparison to the actual deck size. So this deck is 42 cards in size, and yet the Marincess stuff is only half of it. So that leaves us a lot of non-engine to go into. So we'll play 3 Droll, 3 Ghost Spell, 3 Ash, because we can, 3 Nib. These are the monsters that we'll be playing in terms of non-engine. Nib hits almost everything. Ash is nice. Yes, it could be used for an extender, but we also play a lot of hand traps, so hopefully it won't be, a big issue. Like I said, we play almost 20 non-engine in this deck. Ghost Spell, really good for Princess, really good for the Fire King monsters when they're trying to get that to pop off. And then Droll just prevents them from at least accessing part of their engine in most decks. We'll go to our traps and spells that are non-engine. We play 3 Imperm, 3 Triple Tactics Talent, 3 Desires, and 1 Called By. This is great in terms of it's just an interaction with your opponent that's not a monster, so hopefully it won't play into tactics. Tactics we're either, most of the time we'll be ripping, gaining hand knowledge just to make sure, what can we play around, how can we play around it, what's the best way to do that. Desires is for us just to dig into our deck. The goal with this is to dig into hand traps, not necessarily, our engine, but if we have to, we have access to our engine. And then Called By to get rid of course, hand traps that we don't like. We'll go into our extra deck. We'll play 3 Blue Slug. We really want recursion. We want to keep, managing our resources well. And this is just a really good way to keep adding stuff back. We play 2 Sea Angel. We want to, make sure we have access to our spells. We'll play 2 anemone, 1 splash mage, and 1 aria. This is really great, especially if we only have access to 1 name. We can still go into a link 4. Maybe we already have access to wave. Best way to use our resources, you know, to keep stuff in our hand. This is just to get rid of, if we have to take something with tactics, we can get rid of it. We do not want our opponent to get stuff back. We'll play 1 triangle, 1 marble rock, 1 agronaut, 1 bubble reef, and 1 Zelantis, and this will finish up like our link package. Triangles are a way to recur stuff from grave. Banish itself, special back, a combined link rating of 3 of our Marincess monsters. That's really nice. Marble Rock protects us from battle. It also recurs resources, just like an enemy does when it's into grave, but this is when it's on field. Agronaut protects whatever we have on field from, you know, battle. You have to attack her first. She's also a spell trap negate on your opponent's turn, and she's a bounce on your turn. Bubble Reef helps you dig. Heat Soul on your opponent's turn, well, on your turn, any standby phase. That's really nice. Whenever stuff is banished, she gains attack. That's also really good, even if you don't have access to your field spell. She can get pretty big. And then Zelantis to wipe boards because we waterlock, and, you know, allow us to go in for damage. Then the last card that we play is just Abyss Dweller to lock our opponent out of, essentially out of their graveyard. But it also increases our water monster's attack, so that, you know, that's a nice plus.
So this is the real Zelantis deck?
Yes, oh my goodness, that is such a topic to talk about. Bothers me so much saying that Fire King Snake Eyes is like the deck that showcases what Zelantis will do. Zelantis is a board wipe for us. Come on, waterlock and get rid of their board. Anyway, we'll go into the side deck. We play Droll and Lockbird, not Droll and Lockbird, sorry, DD Crow. DD Crow, it's essentially a Foolish Return or a Soul Release. It's not as big. We can't get rid of as many things maybe, but it's a quick effect, so we can activate it whenever we need to. We'll do triple tactics, thrust, and a Soul Release. Again, just a way to get stuff out of their grave. We don't want them to have access. We have Cosmic at 3, evenly at 3. This helps us with either back row decks, but it will also help against, you know, our biggest contender, which will be Snake Eyes, Fairy King, or Snake Eyes. Blowing up, you know, stuff that's in the back row, or even the field spell to, you know, force them to have interactions and pop stuff. And then our last will be Anti-Spell Fragrance, and this is really to protect us from them trying to wipe our board, whether it be with Evenly or any other spell. Let's make them set it, and then we have another turn to hopefully wipe them out. We don't want them to stay alive in this, but it allows us for the comeback to finish what we need to do. Mm-hmm. I know I talked a little bit about playing under Droll, and that Spring Girl is the way for us to do that. If you activate Blue Tang and you actually end up adding, or maybe they wait for, I don't know why, but wait for you to add off of Sea Angel, having Spring Girl effect to mill is really good. It allows you access to stuff in your deck that either you wouldn't have had because of Droll, and you can add back off of an enemy, you can add back off of Marble Rock. There's just a lot of ways to recur from the grave for you, so for me, I really like having access to Spring Girl, whether it's Blue Tang Send or it's in your hand. It allows you to dig into your deck, and allows you to see names and do damage to your opponent at the same time, so it's versatile in that way. So that's really nice.
So some of the questions that I have, just to give a little bit more knowledge on what the Dropper to Topper series is. How many regionals have you played Marincess at? Do you know, off the top of your head?
Oh, how many? I don't know exactly. At least 1, 2, 3. I was gonna say maybe 10 or at least 8. At least 8. Have I ever topped? No.
Okay, but we're gonna change that.
Yes.
Right? So kind of like with this list that Kendall just showed, kind of the goal of this series is to like, we're gonna go play at locals, different size locals, and we'll talk about like how the deck does, right? Maybe there's some cards in the side deck or some cards in the main deck that aren't really as good into the format as we previously thought.
This is our baseline.
Yeah, this is just kind of the baseline where we're starting at for this. The first event that we're going to go to is that OTS Championship that's on March the 2nd. So hopefully there we can get you an OTS Championship top, right? I know you already have your Nats invite.
I was gonna say I already have the Nats invite, and I've topped locals quite a few times. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
I have done that with this deck, but a regional event would really make me happy with this deck because, like I said, this is really the deck I learned Yu-Gi-Oh with, and even the OTS Championship, like that would be great too.
Yeah, and I think another thing that kind of like with this series is that like I think people overinflate how much that they have to prepare for regionals. Just because we're in a tier 0 format doesn't mean that you're going to go to a regionals and every single round you're going to play against that deck and you're just having to like bump and grind every single round against a tier 0 deck, because I don't think that's true, right? Like at the last regional that I played at, like
never played it once. Didn't play against Snake Eyes Fire King at all. I played against Cash, lots of different Rogue, Punk, Vanquish Soul.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the reason that we chose those more like generic hand traps, right? Like keeping Ash in the main deck just because it's like, you're not always going to play against Snake Eye Fire King.
It hits a lot of rogue options.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, guys. So we will be back with this series for episode 2, probably March the 3rd, day after the OTS Championship. Yep. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Bye.